Jazzcast Pros.
We are back at it with Shannon Johns. Shannon is the founder of Calming Nature Doula Services. If you checked in last week, you heard about her beginnings, the foundation of her life journey that led to her becoming a doula, that led to her becoming an advocate for moms, for pushing to ensure that Medicaid is an insurance provider that accepts doula services to help decrease maternal mortality rates. Shannon, to me, is just the bomb. And we started talking. Initially, we were just going to talk about Calming Nature Doula Services and what Calming Nature is and how it came to be. But we got into this conversation about being teen moms, and she shared her journey and the decisions that she made as a young person based upon, those around her pouring into her and her friends and family. And we did not get around to talking really about calming nature. And so that's what we're doing today. We are talking all about Calming Nature Doula Services, the type of doulas that she hires and brings into her practice to ensure that birthing families have the very best birth outcomes and the very best birthing experiences that they can. And so I invite you to continue on with us in this conversation around doula services and the type of people that Shannon likes to work with in her space that she has created for doulas like myself to be able to dive into this practice and give back. And again, help parents have the type of birthing experience they deserve and desire. Welcome to the Healthy Illness Podcast. I am your host, Kelly Marie, your mental health and wellness coach, your doula, and the Healthy Illness Podcast is all about helping you build healthy relationships while living with mental health conditions. Can be diagnosed, can be undiagnosed. Everybody has mental health, just like everybody has physical health. And this podcast is helping you navigate those waters. Like, subscribe, and share. Do all of the things that you do for social media people. I am giving you the ask. Like, I am asking for your support. Like, subscribe, share this podcast with someone you care about, or maybe somebody you don't even like, right? Like, maybe they just need to get in touch with themselves and better understand their mental health. Share the podcast. All right. So what do you say to folks who are in the age spectrum of birthing when it comes to those initial steps? Like, either you're looking to be pregnant or you're in the early months of pregnancy. What kind of guidance do you give folks? And at what point do you start working with people on their delivery journey?
First thing you should do is have awareness of the physiologic process of pregnancy, labor, and birth. Having that awareness is going to help you prepare for the type of birth experience that you're looking and wanting to have. If you understand what, internally the anatomy of the female body, how it works, how it functions, how different parts of the body connect to and interact with other parts of the body, that's going to give you awareness as to what's happening once you actually become pregnant. Once you are pregnant, again, continuing that education, but also to being, very consistent and dedicated to your health during that time. Pay attention to your diet. Know exactly what you're eating. Pay attention to how much of it that you are eating. Your hydration is going to be important. But then also, too, outside of that, number one factor is who are you trusting and relying to take care of not only you, but take care of this baby during the pregnancy. Those things make a difference. Who your actual provider is, whether it's an OB or a midwife, that makes a huge difference because it's going to, really matter based on their experience and their philosophy on, pregnancy and childbirth. If their opinion or opinion or their perspective is all the way to the left and yours is all the way to the right, you're not getting what you want. You're not getting what you expect. You're going to get what that provider knows and what that provider is comfortable with based on that provider's experience, their routine, and how they practice. So if a mom chooses a provider who happens to have a 72% induction rate and a 39% C-section rate.
So is that a question that people should be asking their providers?
Absolutely. You can absolutely ask. But sometimes you don't really need to ask that directly. They can just say, what are your thoughts and how do you feel about natural birth? And most of them will be very forthcoming and say, hey, I just think if you can do it, do it. But most likely you're not going to do it, because if their experience says they had 50 patients, and of those 50, 32 of them asked for an epidural, or more like 39 of them asked for an epidural, their viewpoint, their perspective is most women are going to ask for an epidural. But also, too, we have a high rate of epidurals here. I think every single hospital here has a 90% or more epidural rate. So 9 out of 10 women that come into the hospital to give birth get epidurals. And it's not any fault of their own, because that's not something we're taught. That's not something that we know. We don't know labor and birth, or what it actually truly looks like in its rawest form, because we don't see it unless we just happen to have that community of people around us where you've had the opportunity to view it. But for a majority of us, we don't. But also, too, we don't learn how to swim until we're already trying to in the process of drowning when it comes to birth. You don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what questions you should be asking, you don't ask the questions.
And it's a different set of options if you're drowning versus standing on the side of the bank, about to walk into the water.
Right.
So as a person in the first couple weeks of knowing that,
that they're
I'm pregnant, right?
First knowing that they're pregnant is make an appointment to see an OB or a midwife. Get their opinion. Then from there, find a doula, definitely. And then figure out what classes are going to be the most informative classes for you. Childbirth education classes, they start anywhere from 2 hours and they go all the way up to 12 weeks, depending on the class. Obviously, you're going to get way more information in a 12-week class than what you're going to get in a two-hour class. But then also to consider, what kind of birth do you really want to have? Do a little bit of research. I've seen where people know so much about so many other factors, but then when it comes to them being pregnant, they're just like, I don't know. I'm going to see. You don't know. You're going to see.
Yeah. Yep. Facts.
Whatever
the doctor says.
Right. How did you find out you wanted that hairstyle? Oh, because I seen it on here and I went and looked it up to see if I could find somebody to do it. And then when I did, I found out, that they charge this much. But if I go to this lady over here, she going to charge this much and she can do it faster. So I picked that lady. But then this other lady had this other style that she want. So you went and invested all this time and effort for your hair, but you're not going to do that same. You're not going to commit to the pregnancy with that same level of commitment.
That's good right there. And I wonder, I wonder why that is. I mean, it makes money for
it's the norm,
the healthcare industry, but it could be so different.
I had a lady tell me one time she wanted me to be her doula, but she didn't want to pay for it because she felt like her insurance should be paying for it. And I said, I agree with you. I completely understand. But right now, and this was years ago, and she's like, but I mean, I got to pay for my baby shower. And I seen this stroller. The stroller was like $600, but I think I really want that stroller. So you want to invest in a stroller, but you don't want to invest into your overall experience.
Right.
She's like, yeah, I think I'll be fine. I said, okay, well, good luck. And she did indeed have a C-section.
Man.
However, there are medically necessary C-sections, and then there are C-sections that some women just happen to get.
From a standpoint of convenience and lack of education around the childbirth process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm taking from this, it's never too soon to learn about childbirth education, your body, your partner's body, what happens in life. I mean, we see this playing out on a political stage where people don't even know what menstruation is, but they're passing laws around a woman's body. So it is important that this is not just something we learn about individually, but that we begin to teach and educate everyone around, because everybody's a decision maker in some place or space. And so at what point, journey-wise, does someone bring in a doula?
I say as soon as you have a confirmation of pregnancy, and it's a confirmation of a viable pregnancy. So you're not within that first 6 weeks of the pregnancy where you have the highest rate of miscarriage. But during that time where you have confirmed with a provider that you're pregnant and you're out of that zone of a higher risk of where miscarriages do occur.
And so at the point that somebody calls you or emails and they're like, okay, this is, I want to go in and talk to these doula folks and see what they stand for and what they're all about. And if it makes sense for us to be a team in this childbirth journey, what does that look like for a person coming to Calming Nature Doula Services? Like, what should people be prepared to ask, be prepared to know? And then what does that journey look like for the next 6 months?
Our services is, in a sense, a program format. Whereas there are some doulas that just do doula service. So you contact them, you hire them, and they show up for you 2, 3, 4 times for a doula appointment during your pregnancy. They come when you are in labor. And then if you have chosen to have postpartum doula services versus birth doula, then they'll show up for your postpartum doula appointments. For us, they go through a full program. So there's anything like any services or resources that they need, we get them connected to those programs and the resources. We do have requirements that we do ask of all of the clients that choose to work with us, just because we know that there are higher rates of improved birth outcomes when these steps are taken. So they'll have to go through all of the steps. They do have to take all of the classes. And then we meet with them for their doula appointments. We hold different, workshops and things throughout the month, every month. So they have the opportunity to do those as well. We do have a good number of doulas. So they'll always have their primary, but then they'll always have the other doulas as their backup.
But as someone is going into labor, can you talk a little bit about, so they've had all the education, they've been to the classes, now it's go time. Can you talk about your role as a doula in getting that call and what that preparation looks like for you to be ready for that family?
Yeah, so the preparation for me is want to always make sure that my doula bag has everything in it that I need and it's always ready to go, because some moms will call you with enough time, some of them don't. So if it's the adult mom, and she calls and you got to walk out the door in 10 minutes, you got to be ready to go. My kids, because I've been doing this at this point now for 11 years, my kids are fully aware that, hey, mommy's got to go. But my kids are all older too. My youngest is 13, so he's pretty good. So they know I'm leaving. That means you guys are now responsible for the household. So they are aware. I usually stay in contact with the client over the phone during the time that she is in labor, to give her guidance, to give her support, give her reassurance, and then also to coaching her, because sometimes just because you have had that relationship and that rapport established with that mom throughout her pregnancy, she does rely on you and she does trust you. And your presence, your voice, your, just the way that you show up for her gives her reassurance, but also it brings her, a good deal or a good amount of comfort. So she feels more comfortable. So when she's in that state where she feels more comfortable, she feels safe, she knows that she has people around her that she can trust, her perception of those contractions isn't as high. So then she feels better about it.
And then how long do you stay with moms afterwards? As far as overall service, are you after delivery? Do you do postpartum work? What does that look like for her?
Immediately after they give birth, depending on where they give birth, we're there anywhere between 1 and 4 hours. Like I said, depending on where she has given birth. For actual postpartum care, we can stay with them for up to a year after they give birth to provide postpartum support to them. But it's up to the mom what type of support she feels like she really wants to have and that she feel like she will benefit from.
just switching gears a little bit, when it comes to your, I'm saying your doulas, Calming Nature Doulas, what do you look for in bringing a doula into the fold? Because I know working with you is going to be different than working with me, right? We're very different people. We have different styles, although I think we're both kind of like cut to the chase. No nonsense people. But what is the calming nature experience? Like, what does it mean to have a calming nature doula?
I choose the doulas that I feel would be the most beneficial, but also would be a good fit with our organization. I choose them starting when they do their first day of training. So I watch them from the beginning all the way through their mentorship. So I pay attention to number one factor is, do they really truly want to do this work, or do they think it's cute? And there's some people like, I seen this TikTok or I saw this on TV, and okay, that's cool. That's cute. Okay. And I also do interviews with people beforehand, because I want people to be fully aware of what this job actually looks like. Because if they have this idea like, oh, I want to see a baby be born, or I want to hold somebody's baby, that's not what this job is. That's one of the things that can happen during this job, but that is not the function and the true role of this job. So want to always see why they want to take the training, what they are looking to get out of the training, and then what are their plans when they finish the training. So I pay attention to those. I pay attention to how they show up in class. I pay attention to the questions that they ask in class. That's very telling of their true intentions. And then I pay attention to how committed they are to the work. If I call and say, hey, I know they're not scheduled to, for like the mentoring and shadowing portion, just kind of like a couple of the births that you had. I know this isn't the client that you were shadowing. However, the student that was shadowing her isn't available. Can you come? And if that person says, yes, I'll be there. I'll be ready in 20 minutes. Okay, great. Because that's what sometimes doula work looks like. The mom's like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, I got an induction 2 days ago and now I'm at 9 centimeters. Can you come? It's like, girl, yes, I can be there. I can't guarantee I'll make it there before you give birth because you're already at 9. However, I will do my best. And some moms just labor fast. So you have to be ready to go. You have to have that flexibility in your schedule to just get up and go. So if you got, if someone has a full-time job, they have to be to work at 8:00 in the morning. They're the key holder. And now I call you at 7:30, like, hey, this mom just called. We're going to do her evaluation, which takes half hour to 1 hour over the phone to see if she's actually in labor. Do you have the capacity to do that? And if she actually is in labor and we know that she definitely is ready to go in the next half hour, can you meet with us by 8:15? But if you got to be at work by 8:00, is that something that your life currently has in place for you to be able to get up and go and leave? Can you leave your job? Can you not show up for your job? Is your job flexible? But also too, I cannot work with people that lack integrity. I just can't. I refuse to. That is so key to me. You have to move with true intentions and pure, like a pure heart. I can't work with somebody that doesn't possess those characteristics.
And that's where that knowing comes in too, man, because sometimes you just know. You meet somebody and it's like, no, they ain't no good.
Yeah.
And they're smiling and polite and nice and, but it's not like, they don't have there's nothing about them, in appearance that says this is not a good person. But sometimes you just know.
You just know. That's really what it be. You just know. Like, this is not, this is not it. And it's like you want to be able to believe what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can watch their behavior, and if their behavior and their movements don't match what they're saying, this isn't a good fit.
Right. I count it as a blessing to be able to be at a stage in life where I can leave work. I can, call off. I can show up, and I know some folks want to be in that place? What are some things, if someone's not ready now, to be able to make that kind of commitment to train and study and mentor and follow a mentor? What are some things that someone really interested in becoming a doula can do now while the rest of their life kind of falls in place for them to have the time to dedicate to this space?
So this is one of the things that I tell people. First and foremost, unless our species is dying off within the next couple of weeks or next couple of months, there's always the opportunity to come back to this work at a later time. Number one. Number two, you can take the training and you can go at the pace that is comfortable for you. So if you want to start the training, complete your training, do all the other requirements to become certified, you can take one client a month, or you can take one client every other month. There's nothing that is requiring any doula to work with 4 or 5, 6 clients every single month right from the start. One, it's going to be a little challenging to get that many clients right from the start, but there's nothing that says that you have to do that. You go at the pace that you're comfortable with. You're in charge of your schedule. If you know that, hey, I can only do appointments on these days between these hours, that's when you show up between those days and those hours. Don't commit to somebody for a time that you know you're not going to be available. Or, for instance, you do take a doula client, she's due July 2nd, and you know every year for the 4th of July, your family goes away for a week. Don't take that client, because it's very much a possibility that she goes into labor on July 4th. She goes into labor when you're leaving the airport, but then, or leaving for the airport. But also knowing that if a client will call you at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up. You got to be available for her. You got to be able to stay with her. So if she calls you at 1 o'clock in the morning and now it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon and she still needs you with her, then you got to be committed and able to stay with her for that entire time.
I would say my most fulfilling experience, just in a short time that we've been together, was the long labor. Mm-hmm. That was just, the whole process was incredible, including the postpartum visits and just seeing someone grow in that short period of time that I knew them. I'll be trying not to cry. Like I'm not big on feelings, but that experience, just the whole thing just moved me and spoke to everything that you talked about earlier.
You cry a lot.
Pouring in. Mm-hmm.
You cry for them. Yeah. You cry for their experience. You cry for the baby. It can be a very emotional experience depending on the individual that you're working with.
It's an incredible journey.
It absolutely is.
So last question, what do you want people to know about either maternal health outcomes, being a doula, having a doula, childbirth in general? Like, is there anything you just want the world to know about this space?
Oh, that's a long answer. Most important thing to know is you have a voice. Utilize your voice. You can ask as many questions as you like, and to however many people you choose to ask questions to. Make sure that you have all the information that you feel like you need in order to make an informed decision for yourself and for the baby. And choose wisely. Choose your doctor wisely. Choose your midwife wisely. Choose your doula wisely. All doulas are not the same. Choose the doula that works best and that best fits you and you feel like you're going to get the most benefit from. No one will be offended. And if they are offended, then that tells you even more of a reason why you should go with somebody else.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
No problem. This was great. Shannon, I appreciate you and all of the work you've done. Shannon John, certified doula, certified lactation consultant, business owner, mom, partner, no BS in chief, like you don't take no mess. which I absolutely appreciate in you in this space. And so just thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. If you're interested in connecting with Shannon, you can head to the website, calmingnaturedoula.com. You can connect with Calming Nature Doula Services, either for doula work, if you're looking for a doula, or if you're looking to be trained to become a doula, you can head over to calmingnaturedoula.com and connect with Shannon Johns and the Calming Nature team. Shannon, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Kelly. This was good.
You got it. Until the next time, I encourage you to be the light. We are going to dive more into the life of a doula, into this space some more, as well as talking about mental health and all of the relationships that occur that we can kind of tap into and own in our next couple episodes together. So if you're listening now, make sure you are liking, subscribing, and sharing Healthy Illness Podcast so that you will know when our next episode pops up. Listen, if you need someone to talk to, please dial 988. It is a call line where there are folks confidentially waiting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to speak to you, to meet you right where you are at the point of your need. You are not alone, and there is someone who is waiting to help walk you through this moment that you find yourself in. So again, you can dial 988 for a confidential and free person to speak with. Until the next time, I encourage you to be the light. We'll be back in 7 days. Be the light.